Where did he begin? Is he not aware of Louis Repetto? Is he really not aware of the Louis Repetto controversy? Like, if he's honestly not aware, that's even more crazy. And that's just dangerous that he's just like, get out there, you people with cameras, Scientologists, ex-Scientologists, whoever, I don't care. Right. And as long as you're not getting hurt, but people did get hurt. Now what are we going to do? So it's just like, okay, so the game plan is just throw people out there, people with cameras, then what? And what if people do get hurt? What are we going to do then? He's not going to take responsibility for that either. So it's like, where are we going with this? And now it's collapsed, and his reason is it was these toxic people in the chats. Okay, what does that mean? Also, even as Machiavellian politics, which is really a slander on Machiavelli. Like, I find Machiavelli questionable on many things, but he's not stupid. Like, he says more than just like, you have the power. This is not He-Man. Great show, by the way. He says more than that. But okay, so the plan is Streets LA and the 30 people with cameras and their auditors. Even as an argument, unless you're a complete stupid, like naive person, you'd be like, that doesn't mean anything. You don't even need people. If the idea is get the cameras on the buildings, especially now with AI technology and drones, you could have just done that at a very low cost. You could just stick a camera on a tree, rent a building, here you go, opposite the Scientology building or org, there you go. Now you get to see the building for 24 hours. And except for a few rare cases, we're not really going to see anything because, the Scientology people are not totally bat crazy. They're not going to do something literally violently criminal right before the camera. So what are we going to see? Like a couple of old people handing out leaflets or doing a personality test? Like, what exactly did we see? Again, I'm not talking about the actual protesters or the actual streams. See, this is what we're talking about, the argument. Like, that's what you have to do in politics, because this is what it is. It's a political movement. If people are in denial that it's a political movement, like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, what do you think you're going to do when you petition the IRS? That's a political action. What do you think you're doing? So, okay, as an argument, conceptually, you got the camera, you're looking at the building. Then what? Nothing follows from that. Literally, like, just have a camera, look at a building. Well, what do we do then? Like, what was the plan? Like, we're seeing that they get no members, these buildings are empty. We knew that already. We knew that before Streets LA. What was the point? Well, trying to be the best person to reconstruct this thing to make sense of what he's up to, he says, well, I'm focusing on they're not recruiting and they lose money. Okay, but once again, how does the two are not interconnected at all? Because it's not about literally people with the cameras looking at the buildings, right? I mean, good or bad. I'm not even going to go into details, but let me just say, one of the more questionable streamers, right? This is one of the women actively started screaming and yelling at the Scientologists to prevent the recruiting. Now you might say that's a good thing and a bad thing. So what? But it's not just planting the camera and just looking at a building. It's clearly more than that. And that's just a tautology. Obviously, you're yelling and screaming at people trying to recruit. That's going to be a problem for their recruiting. Like, that's just a tautology. So what are we talking about? I don't know. But even that part, like, oh, I'm really affecting their money. How? How would getting cameras on a building affect Scientology's flow of money? How? Let me try to be productive and, tell people what I mean. Okay, where's the money coming from? It's not magic. It's coming from people. Who people? Rich people. Right. A lot of Scientology is run by the rich donors. These mythical 30 streamers, auditors, are they stopping the rich people from handing over the money? No. Would putting cameras on these buildings stop the rich donors from giving over the money? No. Are they even filming the rich donors giving Scientology the money? No. There was only like one literal case where they actually converge, where this might be relevant, with the Chicago event with Miscavige. And even that really wasn't a money event. It was just, he was doing a speech. So I'm like, so your method, right? This is the great political philosopher here. Your method is the camera, gives you power. Okay, fine, whatever. And the goal is stop the money. Well, that didn't happen. And stop the recruiting. That also didn't happen. And insofar as you stop the recruiting, they weren't really recruiting anyway. Like, that's one of the problems is you look at these streams, and you're like, but they're not really recruiting people. I mean, that's about it. They're getting one or two passerby, and stopping that. But I'm like, I'm not clear that's even a good idea. It's like, shouldn't you just educate these people first? And there was like one spectacular failure, which I'm not going to get into, where this woman I was alluding to, she was just went into this huge screaming rant on a guy on a bench near one of these Scientology buildings. And she assumed he was part of Scientology. He wasn't. He was just like sitting on a bench, and he was taping her. So we got to see his point of view. And she's just going crazy, ranting and screaming, insulting the guy. Okay. Did that stop Scientology? No. Did it stop Scientology recruiting? No. Did it even stop Scientology money? No. It was just a woman being really vicious and annoying to a guy sitting on a bench. Now, granted, that's one of the worst things that happened under Streets LA's regime, but you're like, okay, what am I watching here? So yeah, I don't know. Okay, so that was his great mythical grand arena plan to destroy Scientology, but it all came falling apart. Okay. Well, I got to be honest. If even in the most ideal circumstances, like, I don't think that was a good plan to begin with. But there you go. So that was like the best, most cohesive section, and that was completely contradictory. So there you go. Anyway, but we'll get to the positive of Streets LA, because he said a few positive things, but yeah, most of it was just a waste of time. And there we are. I will try to get to this quickly. Please try to support this channel if you can through channel memberships, and please consider looking at my other channels and giving them a chance. Please liking and subscribing to them. I just put up some new stuff, and more new stuff is coming. Well, if you wanted a nice sample of what Streets was up to, I just say go to the 33 mark. If he still has the video up, because I've saved it, but if you want to go to the 33 mark, yeah, that was a lot of insanity packed into 1 minute. A lot of lying too, but we'll get into it. And it sounds like I'm starting off hostile, but I'm actually going to try to reconstruct the arguments Streets made for what he was doing was productive, but then collectively, we screwed it up. So the basic story is that a Scientologist got mouthy with him, and Streets decided to get revenge, went to the Hollywood testing center, made that a big deal, and some people started to join him. And then a lot of good and bad start to flow from that one event. But his reconstruction is very confusing and self-contradictory, and he definitely got a few things wrong, but good faith, he just got some information wrong. So he's affirming several things which were pretty shocking, because you're like, wait, huh? So he's saying the vast majority of Scientology protesters, I think he means anti-Scientology, but whatever, the terminologies get mixed up. So he's saying most of the Scientology protesters are crazy, which mathematically would include his group. It technically would include even Jessica Palmadessa, but we'll put that aside. But there were a few good people, but that was about it. So you think to yourself, well, isn't this a failure on your part? And the answer is no, because he had a brilliant plan. So he was going to cover LA with him and his camera. And the idea was to get auditors. Yes, he's actually calling them auditors. I don't think he knows what auditing. Why are you calling them auditors? I don't know. Is this supposed to be some cute subversion of L. Ron Hubbard? That was really weird. So he wanted 30 auditors throughout the country. They would just be filming testing centers, the orgs. He didn't even say, I guess, just filming these buildings. Oh, I love this part. Like, in one part he said, I'm not going to go to the blue building. I don't think that's very productive, but you just said to film the building. So the blue building apparently doesn't matter. Okay, what? Even though it's one of the biggest buildings. Okay, that was weird. Listen, this is the best case for himself, that we have these 30 people filming the buildings with him in LA. And they do their own thing. But I will have to note this massive, like, the whole thing was a massive contradiction, which just destroys the whole point, which is like, now, do I really think that those people are out there for the right reasons or for the greater good? No. So he just wanted cameramen and camera women to be, I guess, gender inclusive. So these guys and girls with cameras would just be out there throughout the country. It didn't even matter if they were, but then they're not technically anti-Scientology protesters. It doesn't matter even if they're protesters. You just want cameras. Okay, so just logically, conceptually, that's really stupid and bizarre, but I was like, okay, fine. So you just want people with cameras. Okay, fine. But then out of nowhere, he later says, oh, and those people, at least for a while, were out there for the greater good. So now the greater good does matter. And see, this is important. That's why you need to really think through what you're doing, because those are two different kinds of politics. And I know for whatever reason, these stupid people are like, well, get political. The great thing about Scientology, it's not political. Right. A $4 billion cult, the IRS, the CIA, tons of secret operations, offices in most major countries. No politics here. Anyway, yeah, you have intelligent people say these things. That guys like Nora. Well, we're not even going to get into Nora, but guy, no, there's no politics. You want go to my channel, my political channels. Alrighty then. Let me lay this out. So, on the one hand, Streets doesn't really care if these are moral people or well-informed people. He just needs bodies. He just wanted bodies with cameras out there. Okay, that's one kind of politic, which is what it is. It's Machiavelli, it's Nietzsche. This very amoral power, right? Goes back to technically the Republic with Plato, with Thrasymachus. I'm not going to do the whole political lecture. Okay, that is one way of looking at politics. Very brutal. What matters is winning, right? You have more power, you have the stronger hand. That's what matters. All that matters is we get enough bodies out there, and apparently just having these people with cameras will give us a lot of power. Okay. Does it matter what they're there for? No. Does it matter they know what they're doing? No. Does it matter they even know how to operate the camera? No. Nothing matters except power. Okay, logically, conceptually, that is one argument. You cannot then say, and by the way, they're out there for the greater good. No, 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 no. There is no good and evil. You've completely overthrown good and evil. What matters is power. That's why these arguments matter. This is very serious because that's where Thrasymachus and other people get into trouble because well, I understand what you're trying to say. It's about power, but it seems you are appealing to a morality. So which is it? And listen, we've been debating this for thousands of years. I'm not going to find any resolution here, but it's like Plato was right. That's a contradiction. You can't say it's all about the power in one statement and then say, well, what I'm really. No, it's either all about the power or it's not about the power. It's about something more than the power. If it's about morality and the greater good, that's a different argument. That's a self contradiction. So, which is it? I don't expect great philosophy from Streets LA by far. However, that is a massive contradiction. So, what were they there for? You were saying earlier, I just need people with cameras. Doesn't matter what they're doing. Doesn't matter. They know what the hell they're doing. Just people with cameras. Okay, fine. And that's what he got saying. We broke the internet. There were millions and millions watching. No, there weren't. That's just not true. Other things were going on. Was there a lot more attention activity? Yes. I also love this that he doesn't care about the aftermath, SPTV Foundation back and forth. One major reason why there was so much buzz and attention? Because of the aftermath crisis with Aaron Smith Levin. That's indisputable. There was a lot of attention due to that, too. Oh, brother. I also love that he did try to get out of this by saying, well, what matters is they just got out there and nobody got hurt.